So that was an episode of Doctor Who.
An episode of Doctor Who has taken place.
Yes, it was more like a play than anything, and it's because the writer has only really written plays, and a third of his plays are about barbershops.
Yeah, professionally, it seems he's most known for poetry, his plays. He's wrote now 3 episodes of TV shows, just like a guest writer. Got an MBE. It means he's good at what he's good at. And what he's good at is writing plays focused around Nigerian culture.
Well, we always say that we want new, fresh writers in Doctor Who. But I think when I want them to come in and write Doctor Who, I think I want them to write Doctor Who. Because this wasn't Doctor Who. This was, like, forget Show Don't Tell. This was, I'm going to tell you everything. And not even things that are going on. I'm going to tell you about something that happened in previously that you've never seen and I've never alluded to, I've never hinted at. You don't even know what the hell's going on, but I'm going to tell you about it.
And then that having significance.
Yeah, it's like, it's starting in media res, but every single conversation is starting in the middle of a story. Yeah. Because we can't form any bonds with any of these people, because the Doctor already has those bonds with him. Like, him and the owner of the barbershop go way back.
I would love to have seen that.
Yeah. There's so many bad movies that will, like, reference a little bit of text, and you're like, why don't you make a movie about that? Like, that's this. If you can't tell, I hated this episode. It was just confusing the whole time as well.
Obviously, we'll put some caution, all that stuff that
we
obviously...
are lacking qualifications.
And so there's obviously things in this that would have went over my head because it doesn't have any cultural impact on me. I visit my barbershop 3-4 times a year, obviously.
Yeah.
If the Doctor was a bogan and was trapped inside of Yatla pies or Centrelink, or maybe like flying over some dimmies with someone, it might have had more of a cultural enjoyment out of me.
I would hope that it's just that I missed a bunch of cultural stuff because I suck. But it didn't even really feel like anything apart from the intro and a couple of the stories had anything to really do with Nigerian culture. It feels like they kind of skipped over a bunch of that to just talk at us.
I think there's stuff in there that, I was like, oh, that's probably really funny for those of that. The whole, like, meetings never work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that, and once again, if you enjoyed this episode, absolutely perfectly fine.
I was interested in this one because it's an interesting location.
Yep.
And it felt different from the trailers. I didn't know what to expect. It didn't seem cut and dry, but I definitely didn't expect this. And I think, like, there are some crap episodes of Doctor Who, but I think this is the lowest for me ever. I just didn't get it. I was just bored the whole time. There was no interesting hook. Near the start of the episode, I thought we were going with, like, the story in the engine, like social media's constant craving for, like, new content. Like, I thought it was maybe like how streaming services are constantly cramming up new content because Russell loves to comment on stuff. But it was kind of just the whole, hey, do you know that stories are important?
Well, that was it. It reminded me of when the Game of Thrones writers wanted to wrap up quick. So they just had Tyrion go, there's nothing more powerful than a good story. And to me, whenever I see something that is about stories where the storyteller is the most important thing, to me it feels like the hallmark of someone going, oh shit, what do I do? And that's what it felt like.
Finding their job the most important of everything.
Yeah, it's never a good sign.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's great examples of it, but not for me. And it's funny because there's plenty of cinematic stuff, like Kevin Smith. Obviously, his first film was Clerks, primarily set inside of a convenience shop. The Ice Cube film's Barbershop, set primarily in a barbershop. There are things that can take place in one location, and I'm pretty sure Doctor Who has done episodes set in primarily one location.
We have heaps of bottle episodes to go back to.
Yeah.
And it's usually based on budget, but we have a gazillion dollars now. So
that's what's confused me, is that we've got less episodes.
And most of them have been a couple of locations.
I feel more critical of it because I'm like, we haven't got that much time. So all these need to be bangers. They need to be smash hits. Well, I mean, you were just telling me Ncuti and Russell went to a play, saw the play, wanted it in. That's great.
It's culturally significant to Ncuti to have this writer, and he really loves his work and wanted him on the show. And the writer says in an interview that he's loved Doctor Who forever. It feels like a completely different thing. It feels like one of his plays, maybe, that then someone has randomly chucked jargon and a bunch of, like, random Doctor Who-y things in.
Well, it reminded me of the Rosa episode, where they got someone in who obviously knew the time and the culture, but then went, oh, shit, there has to be a sci-fi element.
Yeah.
Racist greaser who can't kill people, like a really convoluted reason to just have it to just get the doctor on the bus, basically. So with this, I just felt the same, except now it's even worse because I know, maybe I should pay more attention, but I got lost pretty quick because so much of it is just people talking at each other.
Yes. They're telling you plot developments and then they're having things happen that they are telling you. So something will happen, it'll be like a spark or like a ding, and then they'll have to turn to the camera and be like, this is what that was. But they do it vaguely and magically is usually how it goes. There's a bunch of stuff that I hated in this episode. I guess I'll say the last thing that I think I liked, was the window that showed what they were doing. They did the Harry Potter, the Percy Jackson, where it's imagery that's being said. Like, that looks cool every time, but it's not anything new or overly inventive.
Yeah.
And it's just there because they were stuck in one location. And I guess at some point someone decided we need to give them more. Like, you can't just have people monologuing the whole time. I know, we'll do the Harry Potter thing to make it more interesting. We start immediately with exposition. The setup itself is relatively simple. It's the Doctor remembers that Lagos is important.
The Vindicator can vindicate more.
Yes, because a fun fact about Nigeria, they have a lot of radio supplies.
It has the largest communications technology market in Africa and it is near Almost Palace.
Cool. Thank you for that fun fact about Nigeria.
I thought of it being similar to like how Cardiff is a refuel spot.
That would have made more sense instead of just, there's a big market there that we're going to go to. I guess they blew a bunch of money on the market set because it looked kind of cool, but because the outside of the barbershop set looks god-awful. Like, that was the most soundstage looking set I've ever seen in my life.
It reminded me of the fake sets of Squid Game when they have to play the marble games.
Yes. Belinda has decided that she loves the Doctor enough and has grown attached to him enough in the 3 episodes we've seen them together.
There might have been a little bit of a gap between.
But I would like to also see their relationship blossom.
Yeah.
And then she decides that she's cool with the Doctor going to have a haircut because this is the weird part. He wants to go and fit in because he no longer feels like he fits in a lot of places on Earth. So he wants a community of people that look like him.
So they acknowledge that this is someone who
is Doctor culturally appropriating Africa.
I'm not trying to put that, but it's a dumb thing, isn't it? Because he's an alien for one thing. So he's appropriating any culture he is.
Well,
like he's not English. Yeah, but one, you shouldn't think too much about this.
Correct.
And we aren't. But if we are, just for fun, we're going to think about it. We're going to overthink it for like 30 seconds. He's an alien from another world who's then come to Earth and then has now spent 2,000 years masquerading as us.
But has always felt alone. Like, he's always felt different in the classic era. He was the different Time Lord, so he always felt alone because of that.
Yes.
And then in the new series, he was literally the last of the Time Lords for most of it.
Yes.
So he's always felt alone.
Yes.
But now that he's black, he feels more alone.
Because he feels alone on the place where he always felt accepted.
Even though he spends a lot of time in 2025 London, which is very multicultural. But I guess there's also that whole thing. But again, I don't think you can think about it. And he does have the comment, I've never been in a black body before.
Well.
Unless you forget about the cameo that's coming up later in the episode where he is the other black Doctor we've had.
The fugitive Doctor, yes.
The fugitive Doctor, who he should not remember, I think.
Which would just confuse more people who haven't watched that era of Jodie.
Yeah, well, this is meant to be season 2. This isn't meant to be season 15. So they're bringing back a cameo that you will only get if you watch the least watched era of the show.
And that's because we want to acknowledge the other time the Doctor was a black person.
And to get people in the audience to go, oh, that's Doctor Who.
But how many people are going to go, what?
Probably most of them, surely. Unless I don't actually know if this show has picked up any new viewers.
Well, that's it. So new viewers who've tuned into Disney Plus heard good things about Doctor Who and that guy of Sex Education's in it.
Yeah.
What? He was a middle-aged black woman once before? I don't remember that from the tertiary Wikipedia article I looked at.
Yep. And it does lead me to think that maybe Ncuti isn't coming back because they've explained regeneration in episode 2 and now they're showing another regeneration. She has the tongue-in-cheek line of, I was in another story at the time. Maybe that'll get finished one day later.
I half expected her to have a badge that said Big Finish or something. Or like she looks down the camera and goes, Big Finish, please.
It comes up with a little promo like it used to on like Australian Idol of like how to buy it.
Because I thought that was really weird because it's kind of saying someone might do a Fugitive Doctor story one day.
It's tongue-in-cheek, but also maybe she's the next Doctor. Maybe she is just getting more stories, and this is about stories, and Big Finish's thing is the love of stories. I hope it's just a tongue-in-cheek. It's just strange again. The Doctor goes to his barbershop, And on his way there, he passes through the streets.
He knows everyone.
Yes, he calls people auntie. Again, bring up is this cultural appropriation or weird? I don't know. Probably not. Gonna stop thinking about it because I think it's...
that's for somebody else of more qualified. To talk about.
Somebody make that video, please. And then he sees missing people posters. This was the actual interesting thing that got me. He sees missing people posters on his way in, and then he walks into a barbershop, and they're all just there.
Yeah.
Like, all these missing people were in the intro.
Yes.
So we're like, we know they're not missing. Why are they missing? That's like a little bit of that's my only moment in the whole episode that I was like, oh, what are we doing here? And then we get the mysterious barber that they are feeding with stories, and he has to cut your hair while you tell the stories, because that is significant in the writer's life.
In a meta way and both a story way, yes.
Yeah, so that connects everything. And this is where it gets more and more convoluted the longer it goes on, because this man isn't a god. The mysterious barber isn't a god. He worked for them, and he was like their publisher.
Yeah.
Like, he told the stories of the gods. The Doctor and Belinda start laughing because that can't be true. He can't be a god because he says, I'm Loki, I'm this god, I'm the Nigerian god of stories, I'm all of these things. But he's not any of that. He is the god's publisher. But because the Doctor goes on his rant about how he has had dinner and drinks with all of these gods of
Avengers
stories,
with this one and all that, yeah.
which is just even more confusing because gods are new to the realm, right? Like, gods were when he did the salt thing. Is that just the bad gods? Because apparently the Doctor's been hanging out with gods for ages, and we haven't seen any of them apart from the gods of Ragnarok and the Toymaker. To my knowledge, are the only gods we've seen in like classic Who. But here it's like the Doctor's like, yeah, I was drinking with Dionysus, and he won a bet with the African god of stories, and he won his daughter. And the daughter was the random other lady that was in this store who had nothing to say except...
And the Doctor knows he knows that, but he can't think of where.
He tells us that multiple times. And that epitomizes this season of the Doctor saying things like, oh, he says doctory things, but to non-doctory situations, I guess. Like, the Doctor would notice something and he would point it out and be like, that's important. Remember that later. I can't figure out why yet. And then he'll have a revelation later. Whereas this, he's like, I know that person. And then later on, he's like, oh, it's that person. And we're like, we still don't know that person.
Yeah.
We have never heard, like, that is another story that happened in the past. And I can see why you were completely lost.
I was utterly lost.
I guess the performances were good.
The actor who plays a barber, the non-god, played Stephen Black in the adaptation of my favourite book, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Noel. He plays the butler, and he did a wonderful job in there. So I'm like, hey, that guy did okay too. He should have been the Doctor.
Yeah, so performances were fine, but it is just a ragtag crew of people that get no development beyond one sentence each. I'm an athlete and I was going to go for a race, so I came to get a haircut before my race.
Yeah.
I was going to ask my girlfriend out, so I came to get a haircut. The other guy had another thing. So
my mum's ill or something.
Maybe.
He wanted to go get his hair done.
And then so he got his hair done. And then they all got trapped. And them being trapped is the fun part. But all they have to do is tell stories, and their hair grows back.
Because it's the importance of telling a story while the hair's being cut.
Yes.
So it's that action.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can relate to that in a fundamental sense that when I cut my hair, me and my barber will discuss things.
I sit in silence. I do not want to talk to...
Oh, well, we discuss mixed martial arts. Or...
The reason they want the stories is for the story engine, which in writing is a fun thing, so it's another little meta thing. The reason he's doing that is to power his giant space spider that is simultaneously traveling the barbershop to a place while it stays in the original place.
So the spider has a cultural significance to Nigerians?
That is the god of stories is a spider.
Okay.
But it's not that spider because that's just like the mortal engines. Like that's just a big spider walker. I don't know why it's a big spider. The story engine is powered by stories in the same way that Screams power Monsters Inc. So you have to get the stories.
That's incredible.
To make the green bar go to the full, and then you can drive a little bit further. And it's driving through space.
Is it weaving the webs, connecting them?
No, that's another stupid thing. He explains this through another monologue while pictures show up. Basically, the God's publisher barber guy, he decided he wanted to travel from place to place, so he made the World Wide Web, which was using a bit of God semen, and then he wrapped that around a little weaving thing, and then he said the God stories made it bigger, And then he also made the giant spider spaceship thing to crawl across it.
And we never see any of this.
We see it, as in, like, we see a wide shot of a spider.
But when they introduce the concept that we are sometimes visually seeing stories, like in animation on the screen, it would have been cool to have seen the Doctor talk about that time he denied a goddess marriage.
So an anthology clip show.
It almost feels like a clip show.
You could have done Tales of Ba Sing Se, which is basically a framework. So the Doctor could have told some stories of the little mini adventures he had, and we could have had cool 5-minute stories each. Like things that you can't make into a Doctor Who episode because either budget or because scope would get out of hand and you don't know how to end it. So you just blow through it in 5 minutes. Could have been fun. Obviously, that's not what they wanted to do. But it would have given you some barbershop cultural significance. And then you could have also just had the Doctor tell stories because he has a good voice. He could do some narration. I don't know. Spider is traveling across the World Wide Web, which was then taken by humans for something uglier. The internet gets brought up twice in that World Wide Web reference saying the humans stole his name and made it ugly because the internet bad place because Russell hate internet. And also it can't be the World Wide Web because it's spanning the galaxy. It has nothing to do with the world. So that was just a terrible
that
line
confused
they threw in.
me too,
That sounds like Russell. It was just like leaning over his shoulder and just like, oh, you write this?
Internet bad.
Because then also the Doctor calls the barber a coward and says, just like an internet troll, you're hiding your real name. Because internet bad and trolls bad and incels bad.
Except for we want to generate content.
And also the Doctor doesn't use his name. The Doctor hides his name realistically. So like that's what confused me. They were using the barber as like a title. And then he's like, that's not allowed. You can't hide your name coming from the guy called the Doctor.
You can't just change who you are.
Yep. What like that is just nonsensical at that point.
Yeah.
But the plot doesn't develop, honestly. Like, I'd like to go through moment by moment, but it doesn't really have one. It's just people just say things.
Yeah, I noted a moment down where I went, oh God, we're only halfway.
But that was also me going, wait, nothing's happened. Like, we haven't set anything up to destroy it. Like,
yeah.
Because he's a king. Like, the barber is a king. The barber wants to kill all the gods. And he thinks his girlfriend will like that because her dad was a douchebag god who the Doctor lost.
I wish we saw this epic story.
Anything. I wish we saw anything. Instead, we have a 3x3 meter room.
Yeah. How cool would that have been?
Oh, sorry. Really funny moment. The barber cuts his own hair to tell a story. And when he's finished, it's the Miles Morales hair. And that just made me lose my shit. That was so funny.
I've been watching The Studio, which is Seth Rogen's. You might go, oh, it's just Hollywood loving Hollywood.
I haven't started it yet because it felt Hollywood wanking itself off.
It is still really good.
Okay.
And one of the setups is that his studio has acquired the Kool-Aid license to do a Kool-Aid movie. And in one of the episodes, they are casting the Kool-Aid movie. And Ice Cube will be the voice of Kool-Aid. And Ice Cube's in it. But then these white executives become concerned that he's a little bit racist. The Kool-Aid man is black and everyone else isn't black. So then they fall down a hole of asking other people, black people, isn't it racist? So now they've recast the whole movie as black.
Yeah.
So then when they do it, they go, oh, now it feels racist because now we've made everyone black. So they just go and ask Ice Cube, and he's like, and the whole point is it's not that the politics or wokeness, it's that people are overthinking this.
Yeah.
And so this whole episode you could look at in a lens, potentially. It might have been as innocent as Ncuti going, I'd love to do this, Russell. Why don't we do it? And that's just it. But when Peter Capaldi was Scottish, I'm pretty sure there was an episode where he had to go to Scotland and figure out his Scottish roots.
Yeah.
You know, he just said, I'm Scottish, and that was the end of it. Obviously, it's a bit different, but some people would say it isn't different. Yeah. Scottish and Nigerian are two separate places, and that's what I'm saying. It's not them going, oh, we need to explore or, like, talk about the fact that he's black now, because I was worried and you were worried that by acknowledging this, it's the whole, like, as Naki Jackie said, the alligator under the bed. Like, it's something that you don't think about. If you're going to go, hey, is this some, like, the fact that he's black and gay, do we have to explore this? And I thought, could this have been an arc for this Doctor last season?
And on that, it does feel like maybe this will get the Black Panther treatment, where the first Black Panther movie was very highly rated for a fair while after it came out. And then after people had stopped talking about it, then reviews started coming in and it started not doing so well anymore because people were afraid to criticize it. So I'm wondering if people are going to be afraid to criticize this. I hope not, because it's garbage.
It's a messy thing to talk about.
But the plot decides to wrap up suddenly when
he remembers who she is.
Yes, and she decides to have a change of heart because she doesn't want her dad and all the other gods to die, because the barber wants to remove all the gods from, like, all their stories from history.
Gods we haven't seen.
Correct. And then that will cause all of said gods we haven't seen to die, and the Doctor suddenly doesn't want that, despite the only people he seems to be fighting at the moment are gods, and they're causing an awful riot.
But these are the
of
nice
trouble.
gods.
These are the, I guess, maybe, because stories are important. She decides she doesn't want to do that. So then she says she's going to cut the Doctor's hair, and then she has a monologue about how back when they were slaves, they would braid each other's hair in the shape of a map, and that map would let them do something. They would escape or something. And she says these things in front of the barber while doing the Doctor's hair. And then he uses the map on his head, which is interesting, I guess, to escape through the back room. He points the sonic screwdriver at the sky, everything explodes suddenly, and then him and Belinda slip out the back. Even though we didn't know there was a maze back there, why is there a maze back there? But the maze is on his head now, and he navigates the maze to get to the story engine, which is a brain that opens up to reveal a beating heart. And the Doctor has the line, what else could it be? What else could contain all of the stories? So a beating heart and a brain is important to stories, because human anti-AI? AI bad?
But then we already did the AI machine episode.
AI still bad, though. Internet trolls also bad, though.
And then Belinda, a nurse who's been on a few stories so far, is telling someone who knows what they're doing.
The guy that invented the web.
But it'll blow up.
He invented the web, and he invented the ship spider traveling on the web. And he's excited that the Doctor has started showing old Doctors on the screen so that we can go, that's Matt Smith. And that is powering his ship really well. And he's like, oh my God, that's great. Because the Doctor is telling the story, I died, then I lived, then I died, then I lived. And that's infinite stories. Because we needed a finale.
Because he dies and he lives, yes.
Yeah, and then Belinda says it's all going to go explode, and then he has a change of heart as well, and says, oh, we shouldn't all explode, we should all leave. And because they went through a maze to get here in the first place, they chuck in a throwaway line, it seems like ADR. The ship has compressed, it's a straight line back to the door now. The Doctor didn't check that, he just knows that. He just knows that when things start sparking, that's what happened. So Belinda can just go.
Yeah.
And then he has another final little chat with the bad guy.
We can save you, yeah. Belinda even has her own little thing about that time she was a nurse and helped someone, and
yes, we get a random Belinda flashback.
Yeah.
Which was they used to incorporate Mrs. Flood randomly.
oh yeah, because you couldn't have her walking by with dreads.
People would notice her.
Yeah.
So that must be the only reason this is in there. Because the only other thing it does is tell us that Belinda's a good nurse, and we already knew that because every episode she has to help someone in a nursely fashion. This time she outshines the Doctor, which I know does happen a lot. Like Doctors get in their own head too much, or they just
He's a
suck.
big picture guy.
Yeah, or they just suck, and she's like, oh, I noticed this human thing.
Yes.
And he's like, damn, you're right, girl. Let's hook it up. And she's a good nurse. And that's that whole story. And then that powers the engine real good, which gets the barber excited. The story's just a mess. I feel like all I've talked about is that it's a mess.
No, it is. Once again, if someone has subjectively, they've enjoyed it because of the cultural things they've brought in, that's fine. But as a Doctor Who story, it is not, I'll put it nicely, forgettable.
It's just telling us things over and over. And I wouldn't even call it a play.
I'd rather watch last episode again than this.
This is my least favorite episode of Doctor Who of all time. I would rather watch any other episode than this.
Yeah, I even enjoyed the Wasp episode on rewatch because David and Catherine have some funny jokes with each other. They're just having a fun time.
There's no jokes in this one.
There's nothing in this.
There's nothing for me to grab onto.
This episode and last episode, Ncuti has not cried, were 2 in a row, baby. Weirdly, because you think this would have been a crying episode. Because didn't they say, like at the start, he opened up the TARDIS and he just cried really hard and doused all the fire? Yeah. It's just a mess. Like, my wife sat down and 10 minutes later, she was like, yeah, nah. Just got up and walked.
Oh, she left completely, not even on her phone.
She started running a bath. And,
wow.
Other than the fact that we just do this because it's fun, I definitely would have stopped watching this by now.
It's interesting to talk about because it is shocking.
Yeah, on the technical thing, I know Russell has to big it up. But what visuals? This was really poorly. It just wasn't interestingly shot.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the wide shot of the spider crawling across the web looks cool. But because it makes no sense and is very magical, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, it's like showing a nebula in like Guardians of the Galaxy. You're like, that nebula looks really cool, but it doesn't change anything.
And twice now. The first 10, 15 minutes sounded pretty fine. But as soon as he's in the barbershop, for some reason, the soundtrack is way louder. And it happened last week with some of those scenes randomly.
I wonder if they're trying to like accentuate the background music, but they're just doing it badly. Because it sounds like the dialogue sounds recessed and you're hearing nothing but like Murray Gold. And I'm like, it's not even good Murray Gold.
I just felt that this is a problem, that for some reason the sound mix for 2 episodes now just has been off.
Yep, same on mine. I'd be interested to know if you guys had a weird sound experience. Like, did it sound crap? It was definitely weird and I definitely did notice it. And it was kind of annoying me in the episode because I'm trying to pay attention to what is nothing but dialogue.
It's talking about things that we haven't seen. So you're getting so confused. Like, we got to hit it again. That fugitive doctor bit is so fucking confusing for people. Even for me, I know who she is because I remember that breaking the internet. And here we are again, just basically advertising, please can someone finish this story?
And that she's also dealt with the African goddess stories.
Which he doesn't remember.
Which, yes, we think he can't remember, which is why he made the comment about he was the first black doctor. So we're assuming the magic of the barbershop, linked them together. Or the fact that she's magic.
Well, it's almost pointless to rate it because I don't ever want to watch it again. So therefore, it has to be a really low rating. And it feels horrible to go, as someone who can't even wear trousers, to go 2 out of 10.
It almost feels unfair to rate it as a Doctor Who episode because it's not.
That's it. And then since we suspect the things that will have an impact on people, it flew over our head. So then it's people who maybe could enjoy that are going to go, no, because of all this and the things they were talking about. And it was really nice to see the Doctor in the RTD original era. But he was bringing in people who had wrote the novels, maybe, who were known within the fandom and proven talents for Doctor Who, like Moffat, like Moffat's friend who thinks he's an actor. So when you get someone in who's just writing an episode, who's never, can love Doctor Who all he wants, does not have I'm not saying you need it,
not even Doctor Who has never written sci-fi.
But he's not homegrown on this genre, he's homegrown on that. So he's trying to bring Doctor Who to this. And to me, he doesn't do a service for either. I don't like, as a viewer who's not familiar with Nigerian culture, I'm not going, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to go learn more things.
And again, it feels like apart from like 2 or 3 monologues, they don't touch it.
But as just a casual sit down and watch Doctor Who on a Saturday night, I wasn't immersed in this story. I wasn't interested in the story.
I was just waiting for it to end.
Sadly, I was waiting for it to end. And it's weird because we've had some like Kablam and stuff were some shocking fucking episodes, but at least they were. It's like a Batman Forever. Hey, at least it's about Batman. With this, it's like, this is to me an instant skip. I never want to watch this again.
100%.
I never want to think about it again. I feel bad because obviously I don't think it should. Us saying this, I hope isn't construed as, or 2 white guys with a podcast don't want to watch the black focused episode, because of course not. It's not that at all. It just wasn't for me. Just wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Let us know if you guys liked it. It was cool and mysterious for a second there, and then just went into monologues. And
I've lost hope for Ncuti as the Doctor. He's just playing Ncuti, and Ncuti is an interesting Doctor for me.
Yes, it's weird with Ncuti because I know a bunch of people that talk like this Doctor, and I know no one that talks like other Doctors. Like, the other Doctors had an alien quality. This Doctor is far too human.
He's more human than David Tennant, which I never thought was possible.
And in this episode especially, he's so down to earth and one of the people. Like, this whole episode is about how he fits in here. And I don't think he should fit in anywhere because he's an alien.
When you click on these episodes, if the version of me 15 years ago was clicking through the channels and saw this, I wouldn't know it was Doctor Who.
Yep.
Because he's there in a blending in outfit. Being in the suit helps the actor.
Yep.
So the fact that he doesn't have his uniform on ever means he doesn't get to feel like the Doctor. Like,
feels like
David always said when he's got the coat on, he always did loads of pocket acting, or he'll take the glasses out. All these like muscle memory things of being the Doctor. This Doctor doesn't have, because he's never in the right kit.
See you next week.